Sony's PS5 is a divisive machine, with some people liking the bold two-tone design and others finding it to be a big and ungainly console that could do with some slimming down. Thankfully, that's now happening in the form of a new slimmer PS5 called PS5 Slim. Costing only $500, the PlayStation 5 Slim is a marvel for those who have been wanting to buy a gaming console. But how will the PS5 Slim compare to the PlayStation 5, which Sony already sells? Let's find out. The PlayStation 5 Slim is a real head-turner. It's much smaller and lighter than the original PlayStation 5, and it comes in a sleek, minimalist design that will look great in any living room. The console is also very quiet, so you won't have to worry about it disturbing your household. It measures 14.1 by 3.8 by 8.5 inches, a bit thinner on all sides than the first release PS5. It certainly isn't comparable with the dramatic size reduction of the PS4 Slim. The new PS5's overall design is similar to its predecessor, with gentle and distinct curved white panels around a black center. Even the panel's popped collar look remains. It's just a little less prominent. Light strips still run along the edges of the black center to make the white panels glow and serve the same purpose, lighting up blue, white or amber, depending on the console's status. At a glance, the new PS5's only real distinguishing features are the black stripes that horizontally run along the white panels. A power button and two USB ports still reside in the black band on the system's front, while the slot-loading Ultra HD Blu-ray drive lives in the white panel's bump. The front USB plug is still a high-speed USB 2.0 port, best suited for controllers and other simple peripherals, compared with the console's other super-speed USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports. The back holds the same two USB-A ports, Ethernet port, and power cable connector. The only variation is that the two USB ports on the front are now both USB-C rather than one USB-A and one USB-C. The good news is that the smaller PS5 is much easier to set up horizontally. The first version's clunky and awkward two-way stand is replaced by two small plastic pegs that fit into the console's sides to keep it stable. The bad news? The new PS5 doesn't come with a stand at all. The system is thinner than the previous model, so it's less stable when set up vertically. Instead of bundling a mediocre stand, Sony wants you to buy an improved version for $30. Storage is the biggest improvement the new PS5 Slim has over the original. It comes with a 1TB SSD that provides 848GB of usable storage, compared with the 667GB of space in the 825GB SSD equipped first model. The system software takes up a little more than 150GB on both consoles. As for the removable disk drive, I'll hand it to Sony for making it easy to detach or attach the drive without any tools. Setting up the disk drive requires an internet connection, as was first reported last month. Even if the disk drive came attached to your console, setting up your console with no internet, that may be unlikely for most people. But if you're in that situation, you won't be able to play anything until you at least connect once to Sony's servers. You're even given a warning that factory resetting your console requires an internet connection to properly unpair the disk drive, which raises the question of what happens if you sell or buy a second-hand drive that wasn't unpaired. Like the first PS5, the new PS5 has an interior M.2 SSD slot for installing another SSD. Make sure your SSD meets the requirements listed on Sony's site, though the company hasn't published the upgrade process. The other major hardware change is welcome, but less directly beneficial to most people. Like the first PS5, the new version is available with or without an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. However, that drive is now modular, so you can upgrade to a digital-only PS5 by separately buying the disc drive for $79.99. That's $30 more than the $50 premium the disc-equipped PS5 has over the digital-only version, compared with the $100 price difference between the first models. So getting the disc system is a better deal than adding the drive later. It's a good option for watching Blu-ray movies and TV shows though, and it means the drive can be easily easily replaced if it fails. The system's guts, besides the SSD size, are unchanged. The new PS5 Slim uses the same AMD Zen 2 CPU with 16GB of DDR6 RAM, Wi-Fi 6, and Gigabit Ethernet as the original model. Its graphical capabilities are identical too, with ray tracing and the ability to output at up to 8K. The included DualSense gamepad is the same as the one included with the original PS5. It remains one of the most advanced and comfortable console controllers, with adaptive triggers, motion control, and surprisingly precise and realistic vibration. We saw close to 10 hours of juice between charges, which is pretty mediocre. The Switch Pro controller and Xbox wireless controller both clocked in closer to 40 hours. I played Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on the new PS5, and it performed exactly as expected. The game was sharp and responsive, with the fidelity mode offering detailed graphics and a frame rate that hovered around 30 frames per second. The performance mode disabled some of the more advanced graphical effects to keep a frame rate that stayed closer to 60 frames per second. Some of the most popular PlayStation 5 exclusive games include Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Amp, Clank, Rift Apart, and Horizon Forbidden West. The new, slightly redesigned PlayStation 5 is a bit slimmer in terms of physical size and a bit larger in terms of storage. Otherwise, it's the same system as the original model. It's a fantastic game console with plenty of power and an advanced gamepad, though we lament the omission of a vertical stand. It's also a shame that the digital-only model is now $50 more expensive than before, but we generally recommend purchasing the disc version as it gives you the option to play Ultra HD Blu-rays. There's no reason to rush out and replace your existing PS5 with this one, but it's the one to get if you're just getting into Sony gaming.